teams to lose to Kazakhstan by 3 or more goals since 1994. Now, apologies for the pronunciation, on. I'm terrible, it's what I do. Anyway, Pakistan, UAE, Laos, Nepal, Macau, Andorra, Azerbaijan, and now Scotland. Well done, lads. Well done.
Glorious. No, I won't give in till I'm victorious.
Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's video is the international break, so let's turn our attentions to the international, sadly for us. Yeah, other countries, other people, they must be happy about this, you know what I mean? Their countries day things. In Scotland, we dinna, we do the opposite of doing things. Do you care what that is? Doing nothing. That's what that is. Now, in case you don't know and that title doesn't spoil it for you, Scotland was obviously absolutely hammered to pieces by Kazakhstan 3-0 in the kick-off of the Euro 2020 group stage, where hashtag nothing matters more for the Scotland team apart from a dentist for one of our left backs, and the other left back is saving himself from the old firm. Except for that, nothing else matters when it comes to Scotland. Now, before we go any further and actually speak about just how pitiful and embarrassing this Scotland team actually is, you know what I mean? You just think of, they've embarrassed us enough, you know what I mean? The 20 odd years of failure, but they just continue to dig even deeper. They are the OGs of the banter era. Yes, Rangers fans, we've enjoyed the banter era for a numerous amount of years. Well, Scotland's the OGs. They've been doing it since back in the day. But before we actually speak more about Scotland, we need to actually turn our attention to Kazakhstan and say, Jesus, they absolutely played us off the park. I mean, when you actually look at it, they have only won 3 times since 2011 in qualifying for major tournaments or even in major tournaments. And those teams that they actually bet was Azerbaijan, previously mentioned, they're in there. The Faroe Islands, aka Stephen Fletcher's favourite team, and Latvia. That's right, the 3. Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is now 4 as Scotland has joined that beautiful, beautiful rank. And to actually break down the game, believe it or not, it was all dead and buried within 10 minutes of the first half, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And the vital start for Euro 20, getting a positive start. Your captain's lying there with the knockout gas, just dreaming. And Scotland are getting slapped, and it's 2-0 within 10 minutes. And if the first goal wasn't just a perfect summary of how this game is actually going to go, then nothing else is, because it's horrendous defending from Scotland. The line's all wrong. Shinnie, McKenna, Bates, they're all sort of lost. They're not communicating, they're not talking to each other. It's a simple long ball over the top, and to be fair to the Kazakhstan striker, he absolutely buries it top bin. Scott Bain, for that one, couldn't get anywhere near it. The second goal, once again, it comes down from the left hand side where we're normally stacked, you know what I mean? We've got so many good players. We keep hearing about Robbo and all the things he's doing in Liverpool, but mentioned he's got the dentist. Valid excuse. You've got Kieran Tierney, the next up and coming, this and that, the media likes to say. He's saving himself for the old firm. And last but not least, in the left back position, we obviously have Graham Shinnie, who has been running it for Aberdeen all season long. Not at left back though, in midfield. Makes sense. But anyway, the second goal of the game was just so easily ripped right by Shinnie, almost like he wasn't even there. That was a big problem throughout the entire game, that entire left-hand side. I wasn't overly impressed with Burke either, apart from his overall pace to get by someone. Just hasn't got any final delivery. The left-hand side was awful for Scotland all night long, but that's where the second goal came right down, and the goalkeeper's obviously easily beaten. And I just want to interject just here, by the way, if you've been following the SPFL show, I've been pretty vocal in saying that Liam Kelly should be the #1 goalie for Scotland, because I believe he's actually the best Scottish goalkeeper now Alan McGregor has retired. And watching that performance from Scott Bain, no, it's not because he plays for Celtic or anything like that. I'm just not overly impressed with that man at all, and I thought the second goal was probably the one that he should have actually saved, or made a better attempt at actually saving it. It just looks so easy, just rolling by him into the back of the net. But again, it's not all just on the goalkeeper. The defence was horrific, the midfield was awful, the striker was non-existent throughout the entire match. But that was the first 10 minutes, and it was all done and dusted from there. You might look at the stats and say Scotland had 10 shots, Kazakhstan had 10 shots. It must have been a tight, contested game where Scotland was just unlucky. No, Scotland was just pish. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of questions about Big Ek and everything like that, and people are going to be wanting him out. I'm sure I'm going to see that down in the comment section, because I'm seeing it on Twitter already. But what can the Scotland board actually do with Big Ek? You know what I mean? They didn't want him. That was quite clear to see. They wanted O'Neill. He said no. They made a big deal about wanting O'Neill. He rejected the chance. They went after Walter Smith. He said no. And then they were just like, anyone left? Anyone? McLeish was like, and they were like, anyone? You want Souness? You want to come back? No, you. it's just Alec McLeish. Damn it, we'll need to take Alec McLeish. It's like that guy that's always picked last at fives. That is what Alec McLeish is. So where do we move on from Alec McLeish? No one else wants a job, and after that performance, is that going to inspire any other manager to step up and want to take on the handle of being the Scotland manager? No. I'd be very, very surprised if they actually sack Alec McLeish, because there's simply no one else to take the job. So moving away from the manager, let's actually focus on the players. Did they do anything in the game to rally back? Because there was still a hell of a lot of football left to be played. Did they get stuck in? Did they shout at each other? Did they try and move the ball forward quick enough, getting in the box, attacking it? No. It was just very, very predictable play from Scotland. They're just giving it to Burke. Burke would beat his man very well using his pace, but then after that, couldn't cross the road. Then you had James Forrest running about like an aeroplane into the corner flag. It was just awful. There was no build-up support. You actually kind of feel bad for Oliver McBurnie, because he was living on less than scraps. I mean, I've seen a team all season long give their hopes and their prayers on a striker. I've seen that, but that was even worse, because McBurnie got none the entire game. In fact, the only time I can actually think of a decent cross going in is when McBurnie turned the ball down, it dropped to James Forrest inside the box, and he obviously mishit his volley and it went straight into the goalkeeper. That was it from an attacking standpoint from Scotland. Now obviously earlier on in the third half, Kazakhstan gets their third and final goal of the game. It's very, very well worked, left to right, a wonderful cross in and an even better header, and that really put the nail into the coffin of pure embarrassment for obviously Scotland. I personally think this is the worst result that's ever happened for Scotland. I genuinely mean that. Even worse than years and years ago when we got beat off Georgia away from home, and that ruined like that European qualifier. But the way that we have built this qualifying stage up, the way we performed in the Nations League and everything, all the positive talk about Robertson, Tierney, all this mince and patter back and forth, hashtag nothing else matters, to go to Kazakhstan and be absolutely pumped. It's just so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. And I've got a fractured sort of relationship with Scotland just now, because I just think the SFA and everything are running football into the absolute grunt. And it's hard to actually care about Scotland. But when you even just watch it, because there's nothing else on, and you're just like, right, come on, make some ham. That is the level of effort and commitment you get from the boys on the field and off the field who's sitting on their couches because they can't be bothered to come and play. And honestly, that's me all done and dusted with tonight's fan recap. Did that performance inspire me and get the confidence back in the national team? Maybe the interest? No, in fact, it's even further and further away, because the powers that be continue to drive Scottish football into the ground, both domestically and obviously internationally, where we're just continuing to get worse and worse and worse. There needs to be changes, and it's not just a manager or anything like that. It's not just personnel actually getting off their fucking couches and coming and playing for Scotland. It's above that needs to actually be looked at as well. So now, before we jump over to Twitter and hear from the people to see what they've got to say, and imagine it's absolute fire, get your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What did you think of that performance? What do you think about Scotland? What needs to be changed? Or can it even be fixed? Or is this another couple of years without any other major tournament already in the first frickin' game? So over to Twitter then, Peter Ramsey writes in, embarrassing. Andrew Wilson writes the in-betweeners gift that I can't play for copyright, that pretty much just says, well, that was absolutely embarrassing. The staunchest writes in, postcards being sent to Northern Ireland as we speak. True Blue 72 says, they are pish poor. Do I care? No, I absolutely don't. Steve writes in, my reaction to Scotland getting pumped. That's a wee bit ace. You can't go wrong with a bit of ace. Larson's son writes in, patter manager, patter football association, patter tactics, patter lineup, patter performance, patter result. Scottish football continues to meet the patter quota for the internationals. Good to see we remain consistent in that regard. Hashtag please sack Alex McLeish. Ross Watson writes in, Lee Wallace. Yeah, Wallace would have actually improved that squad, believe it or not. So Ross, you've been waiting about 3 years to hear that. Well, there it is, son. You've had your moment. Cobras HD writes, great performance for the lads today. Couldn't have played any better. Blue Rangers writes in, Bate should be protected from that team in the future. Stephen Quinn writes in, got to be the worst result in Scotland's history. We cannot ignore the failures throughout the entire SFA. Total rubbish. It's absolutely sickening. Cammy writes in, Scotland are 40th in the world rankings and Kazakhstan are 123rd. It says it all, to be honest. Yes, it does. Thank you for reminding us. Chris writes in, should have played the women's team or a youth team or even put Albion Rovers out there. That was utter shambles. Loyalist Loudrop writes in, absolutely fantastic viewing. Alfie's just misunderstood, writes in, didn't see it as it was working. Fuck, I was actually working. And the last two or three that will actually read out come from Hennick, writes in, surely McLeish has to go, new face needed, get someone in as soon as possible and let them prepare for the qualifier, our only hope now. And the last one we'll actually read out comes from Bang! Ian McCraren, it just writes in pish. And the last one we'll read out because from David Edwards, and he writes in more of the same against San Marino, please. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You can clearly see the relationship between the fans of teams in Scottish football and the actual national team is still extremely split, and it's all because of the SFA and the continuous way that they actually run Scottish football. But anyway, that's us all done and dusted. I've been CJNova92. If you would like to help support the channel, the link for that is down in the description below. Join the 50 strong on the Patreon's account. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and bye bye.